Hello, everyone. Talk of the Town is up and running in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, USA. I'm Scott Montesano, and this is where the Chippewa Valley comes to talk. Hello to everybody out there. We are getting through the month of January, and I'm hearing more and more people say the same thing. There's an optimism. There's an extra bounce in everyone's step. The simple fact we're getting through the month of January. Saw the story that the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport welcomes back those seasonal flights from Sun Country Airlines down to Fort Myers, and may they go well. Saw good numbers out of the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport. Had more than 50,000 passengers last year, and again, see if that results in continued growth for the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport. Obviously, the flights down to Chicago, the goal is to hopefully keep, if not maybe even increase, but most notably keep those seasonal flights by Sun Country. And who knows, it's realistically at the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport, we've had Charity on a number of the podcasts. Short term, it's not realistic to be thinking of another hub being added out of Eau Claire. They're not going to all of a sudden also start going to Detroit or to Denver or any place else. But maybe getting another flight down to Chicago is realistic. And, of course, maintaining the business with Sun Country. But that's good news out of the area, and we'll see if that if they have another good year. You want it, use it. Now, I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, though. I don't have much reason to fly. And my wife used to for work, but she hasn't flown now in a few years. And we're going to Florida in a few weeks, but we're going to Orlando, not Fort Myers. And I don't want to give you all a geography lesson, but they're not that close to each other. And we drive. And we drive because it's just not economically feasible to fly with the 4 and all of that. But I digress on that. Many of you are in a position to fly. 1, a lot of you are in position to fly. 2, a lot of you prefer to fly. And if you are in those positions, we've said it once, I'll say it again, your first option should be the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport, especially if you're heading south or east. If you're heading to the west or you're heading internationally and you say, you know what, I just want to go right to the Twin Cities, and from the Twin Cities in some cases you can go directly international, fine. I'm not going to fight you too much. But it's not that bad for all the things you hear about canceled flights and this and that. It's not as bad as you think it is. And also, you'll appreciate flying out of the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport when you land back from your trip and you've got a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute drive home, as opposed to landing in the Twin Cities and it's 2 hours back home. And never forget the fact, if you've had somebody come and drop you off or somebody's coming to pick you up, you owe them big time. So we've got the airport. Good news there. We're going to do a Hungry Italian restaurant review today. Yes, the Hungry Italian restaurant reviews return today with a number of spots to talk about. Before that, hit on a couple of other quick hitters. We talked about it on Tuesday. It went off on Wednesday. The rally in downtown Eau Claire in solidarity with the people that are protesting against ICE activities in Minneapolis. It was originally proposed. I think this is something different. What we talked about on Tuesday was a prayer service. Well, the same church, this Utilitarian Universalist church downtown, was also a part of this rally, this protest in downtown Eau Claire. I don't know if it was the same thing. Either way, it was all wrapped together. But on Wednesday, there were a couple hundred people. How many is... I wasn't there. I didn't see it, and it's hard to tell from the photos. People that, depending on what side you lean on, it was either thousands of people downtown or it was a few dozen. Either way, a number of people were downtown protesting against the ICE activities and the deaths of Renee Good and forgot the name of the other gentleman. It just left me now. I can picture his bearded face right now. Oh, this is actually pretty awful. The fact that I don't have that in front of me. You gotta love this live. What is it there? People are right now trying to get it in front of me. Oh boy. Let's see here. What was his name? This is where I could easily pretend that there's technical glitches. Well, sadly the deaths in Minnesota. They're Alex Peretti. Boy, I felt really bad about that. Hey, welcome everybody to doing something live. The Alex Peretti death. So people are out there protesting, and people right now, we'll get to this a little bit in a second. There's now different layers upon the various protests and why people are actually protesting and voicing their opinion. But either way, we had that downtown on Wednesday. No incidents, no issues. Volume 1 actually put together a pretty nice article detailing verbatim as to what happened at the protest. Evelyn Nelson, who used to write for us in our earliest days, did the article. And Volume 1 can lean to the left. We've said it before here. Volume 1 has always dipped its toe in news, and I wish it would do more news. It could very well be a very reliable journalistic entity in this town, a very needed written journalistic entity in this town. They just dip their toe in, though. When they do well. And Evelyn Nelson wrote the article, breaks down what happened, kind of a timeline as to what they did. If you are somebody that maybe leans to the right, you'll spend the whole time reading the article waiting for something to maybe really upset you. In reality, again, the article just lays out what they did step by step with, in all honesty, not any type of bias in the reporting. So a good article there. They break down what happened. I find it impressive, the people that were out on Wednesday protesting, because as I've said here on this program, and I've said it privately too, it's easy for people to have all these protests. Think of all the protests that were going on college campuses a couple of years ago. Think, quite frankly, about the protests in 2020. People felt passionate about things, but it was also warmer weather. It was the spring. It was the summer. In the case of 2020, people were looking for something to do. I'm not trying to be that callous to it, but in some cases, people were looking for something to do, and they were out. This is different, especially the people that were out and about in Eau Claire. It is roundhouse right to your cheeks cold. You are questioning your own life choices just to go to the driveway to get the mail. That's how cold it is. And these people were out on Wednesday protesting. Whether you agree with the protest, you don't agree with the protest, or there's certain aspects of the protest you agree with, and there's other aspects you don't. And as I'm going to say in a moment, it does get messy. Now, you have to take this even more seriously than you have been. People aren't just protesting out of convenience. They really are making a sacrifice for this, which I'm impressed by. The thing is, though, when it comes to the protests, and you see it a little bit locally, people are protesting for different reasons now. There are some people that are protesting because they don't like any of the ICE activity. Nobody should be getting deported. There should be no deportations, nothing. There are other people that are protesting entirely because of what happened to Alex Preddy and Renee Goods, and a lot of people in between with this. But from a local angle, what I find impressive, people were out and about protesting on a Wednesday in late January, in which it was bite your own mother's nose off cold. The type of cold that makes you do crazy things, if you will. I am on record as saying here that I am not necessarily 100% on the side of the protesters, though I am not 100% on the side of ICE either. I am very much in the gray zone. There are certain things that have been going on in Minneapolis that do irritate me, but I also don't feel that I wasn't about to go stand in 5-degree weather to protest it either. But we had the protest. We've also had people having rallies on the side of conservative causes. And one thing we've had in this area that I hope to heaven's name continues, we've had civility with all of it. And may that continue. We have had civility to all of this, including the fact that the Eau Claire City Council has stayed out of it and not unnecessarily gotten involved, which would have simply been gasoline on the fire. Remember, there was that group a couple of weeks ago that wanted the city council to come out with some type of statement, and the city council went nay, which is good. Stay out of it. Emily Berge put out a statement, but that has more to do with the fact that she's running for Congress. And it was not a statement, despite what the Eau Claire Republican Party tried to make it. It was not a statement that was inflammatory or anything that really should have upset people. As we said on this program, she gave a statement that actually was pretty milquetoast. Those that are very much anti-ICE were not happy that it was not a more strongly worded statement. We have kept civility in this area, and I hope to keep it that way. Remember, civility does not mean passive towards all of this. Does not mean passive. It doesn't. And remember, with all of it, with everything going on, we're just learning. Again, remember, things are not simple. I just talked about this on Tuesday. Things are not simple. We want to make things simple. Things are not simple. So try to keep passion if you're too quick to go to passion, then you're in a position where it's hard for you to back up in the light of new information. When you're too passionate, think of when you're yelling with somebody in a family fight or whatever, and maybe there's a bit of new information that makes you go, ooh, well, if I knew this, I would have then reacted this way differently or all that. Sometimes it'll make even matter. Sometimes it would de-escalate all that, but when you already start at a point where you've already burnt the toast, once you've burnt the toast, you can't go back to bread. So again, I like the fact we've kept this civility in the area with the various conversations that have gone on around it. Speaking of law and order in the area, Chippewa County is looking to raise the salary of the county sheriff position. This is not necessarily just for Travis Hakes. It's the position in and of itself. Andrew Alvarado, the new supervisor of Chippewa County as of a few months ago, wants to raise the pay. Seems to be a lot of agreement about that. All of the local county sheriffs all make over $100,000. They're all in the same general ballpark of each other. The Dunn County Sheriff makes slightly more than the Eau Claire County Sheriff, and he makes slightly more than the Chippewa County sheriff. Chippewa County wants to raise the salary of right now Sheriff Hakes and whoever else would take that position, make it more in line. That shouldn't really irritate people in the area. What should irritate people in the area is something that Dan Marcom brought up a couple of weeks ago. And it is something that makes me think. So Sheriff Hakes, along with, I believe, some representatives from the Chippewa Falls Area Unified School District, and again, we do a podcast with the school district, they all went to Oregon, I believe, for some safety training seminars that took place. And on its own, you go, well, that seems good. But this is the business person in me, and it's a different way of looking at it from business. Who paid for that is my question. If this was paid for through various grants, then by all means, fine. All right? By all means, fine. There are a lot of these things that they learned in Oregon, they probably could learn watching seminars online, taking classes online, or there may very well be local versions of it. But if it's, as long as it's not paid for with taxpayer dollars, I'm 100% on board with it. If it's paid for with taxpayer dollars, not to sound old curmudgeony Republican-y, old man conservative, but I have a little bit of a problem with it. And that's not just because, it's government officials and whatnot. That's the business person in me. My company, I don't send anybody out to expos. None at all. There's a person I know in town who works in the marketing game who went to an expo in Las Vegas. Saw it on his social media a couple weeks ago. Went out to an expo in Las Vegas. And I'm thinking to myself, do you really need to go to those expos anymore to do business? You make connections, you make this and that, but do you really need to anymore? And I had a person tell me a few years ago when it came to an expo, and they would send staff members out to expos. And he said, Scott, this is a couple drinks in. He goes, Scott, you know the strength of an expo in his industry. The best thing we get out of an expo is I'm able to reward certain employees on a trip. He said exactly. The expo he had sent people to was down in Phoenix. He'd sent people to expos in Walt Disney World. He'd sent people to expos in Las Vegas. He said, nobody in my company ever demands to go to an expo in Edmonton, Alberta. But we'll see expos in all these places that typically, Nashville hosts expos. And he says, the reason I allow my staff to go and our company covers their expenses is because it is a work vacation. I expect them to go and have fun and come back re-energized. Which I think is perfectly fine if you are a private business and that is the rationale that you have behind it. Otherwise, when you have these expos and you've got elected leaders going to these expos and these training things, have we turned over every stone that they have to go to this particular one that involves a plane ride and overnight stays and this and that? Just one of those things to think about. Is Scott that fired up about it? Is Scott that upset about it? No, not necessarily, but it's something to think about. And that's not just me yelling because it's government of people or anything like that. As I said, it's my own private, the way I view private business. I don't approve any expos. Scott does not approve any expos. I do not. I would rather give people an actual vacation than to pay for an expo for them to go on. You can disagree with me. I don't care. All right, let's get to the Hungry Italian Restaurant reviews. I know you want the Hungry Italian Restaurant reviews. We have not done a Hungry Italian Restaurant review in a couple of months now. Didn't do any in December So I think we have to go back to mid-November, I think, to find the last Hungry Italian restaurant reviews that we did. So I've got some places here, including a place I just ate at today that I bet you haven't even thought of. But we start off with this. I have not been there yet. I had thought about taking the family this weekend. I'll be honest, I don't see us going there for a while, and that is the Apple Hop. Not because I've had any personal bad experience with the Apple Hop, the new Applebee's IHOP crossover, and not because you should take everything you see online as the gospel, but I have seen way too much negativity about the Apple Hop from people online and from a couple of people in reality, face to face, that I'm amazed at apparently how bad the Apple Hop has been. And if you've had great experiences at the Apple Hop and you don't think the Apple Hop has been that bad, then please reach out to me, because I'd like to go. I'd like to get me a big old plate of pancakes. All right? I like IHOP. I wanted to eat at IHOP. But I've heard a lot of bad experiences. People have had cold food, horrible service, the fact that they seem to be disjointed over there. It's one of those things that you look and you go, it ain't worth it. It comes down to, at the end of the day, it comes down to service. If people were telling me the service was great, the food's a little hit or miss, but the service is great, I'd sit there and go, oh, that's a chain restaurant and what have you. I'm not expecting Johnny's Italian Steakhouse level food, but if the service is good, all right, I can go there. I've heard horror stories of people going, and it's taking over an hour for them to be in and out. You go to breakfast, you expect to be in and out in 45 minutes. So to the people at the Apple Hop, you guys have got to do something PR-wise. And by the way, the PR, we said this before with the Apple Hop. I just thought about it. Remember that first weekend they opened? And then right after, the GM put out what I thought was a very dumb social media post. Very dumb social media post in which he kind of pointed his finger back at the community and said, how dare you attack the staff? People need to have better expectations, blah, blah, blah. And I went, ooh, that's a bad play. That's a bad, bad play. That may be how you feel when you work in customer service, when you work in an industry. Many of you that own businesses know this. There's times you sit there and you go, come on, community, be better. My people did good. You don't know what you don't know, but you don't put it out there. You swallow it, you tell your closest friends, and publicly you go, we'll be better. You may yourself believe that you did everything right, and you may know things that the public doesn't know, and you know you did a good job, but if the public didn't think you did a good job, you don't fight the public on this. You let the public think, hey, yep, we'll be better. So they got off to a bad start. So if the people at the Apple Hop see this, you guys got to do some PR. You've absolutely got to do some PR. There's people like Scott Montesano that would like to bring his family to the IHOP because I'd like to go to IHOP. I love Randy's. I love Randy's for breakfast. Love it. Sometimes, though, you just want IHOP. And I just want to know if I go to the IHOP, it's not going to be a miserable experience. All right, now let's get to some good stuff. Went back to Reboot Social a few weeks ago. This is just before Christmas. Went on a Saturday night. Youth hockey players all over the place because there was a youth hockey tournament going on. And my fear was, the place is going to be overpacked. It's a Saturday night. The place was packed. Reboot Social was packed. Youth hockey kids, families, also people on dates. It's a very popular date spot, especially for young adults. Despite it being filled, outstanding service, a great vibe, food came in and out. Very good. Reboot Social is very good. I have not had a bad experience at Reboot Social. If you've not gone to Reboot Social, you're missing out. The food is very good. The menu is small, which is good. The food isn't great and it can be pricey, but you pay for an ambiance that is there. If you like, it's great if you go there with kids. It's great if you go there with a group of people. You can play video games, the very cheap video games. You can play pool. I think they got darts. And have fun. It's an interesting vibe. It's an ambiance there. They've got a great looking little bar that's right there at the corner of the street. So love Reboot Social. You're missing out if you've not been there. Wisco's. Been to Wisco's a few times. I've told all of you that I think some of you are missing out on Wisco's. Nice spot. Usually go there on Sundays. I've had a lot of good food there. I got to get the pizza again at Wisco's. I will tell you something to stay away from, though. Went to Wisco's New Year's weekend. So you're coming out of the holidays. You want to eat something healthy. Went to Wisco's, and I saw they had a chicken breast dinner. And I usually don't get, there's not a lot of chicken breast dinners that are out there. When I grew up, I used to always get the Red Lobster chicken breast dinner. Should go back there again. They heavily marinate really good. I'm like, all right, I'll get the chicken breast dinner here at Wisco's. And there's a couple sides that it comes with. You get a couple of boobies on the plate. I get the chicken breast dinner at Wisco's. Never get that again. There's too many other good things on their menu. The chicken breasts were as dry as sand. And they were over-seasoned. Way, way too salty. They were dry. I envied the dinner scene at National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This chicken was more done than that turkey was. So that was a disappointment. So stay away from the chicken breast dinner at Wisco's. However, almost anything else in the menu is a home run there. Barachos. Went to Barachos, the one over near Walmart and Target. Went to the Barachos a couple weeks ago. Burritos, very good. Barachos, Chipotle's the same way. It's very messy. There's no clean way to eat these things. Messy, but good. I always like a good burrito. Messy, but good. Yeah. So Barachos, I always liked the one when they had it on Water Street for that. Chippewa Family Restaurant was there a couple weeks ago. The Chippewa Family Restaurant, Chippewa Falls Family Restaurant. Went there. Used to eat there a few more times in a year. A couple of years ago, my travels took me through there a little bit more. But made it a point to go to the Chippewa Falls Family Restaurant a couple weeks ago. And I always leave the Chippewa Falls Family Restaurant feeling ill. And that's a compliment. I'm going to tell you why. Huge portions at the Chippewa Falls Family Restaurant. The reason I leave feeling ill every time there is because I overeat. That's a Scott problem. That's not their problem. Huge portions, decent price, good quality. I got an omelet with pancakes and with coffee. I think I had hash browns with it. All of it was for $20. The eggs they say they make it with 3 eggs. I swear it's got to be 4 or 5 eggs. And they're putting some cream in there, or they're putting some pancake batter in there because they're really fluffy and they're really thick. It is really good. I'm not telling any of you anything you do not know. The Chippewa Falls Family Restaurant, really good. Reliable service. It always feels welcoming when you're there. The Altoona Family Restaurant is the same way. Don't overthink it. There's a reason why they do good business. Chippewa Falls Family Restaurant. I got the breakfast there. I've gotten sandwiches there in the past. I have never left there not feeling as though I overate. Huge portions. Huge portions. Moving on, Casa Margarita 2. This is the one that is on North Claremont. Casa Margarita 2. We ate there a few months ago. Wanted to go back there. Because the last time we went there, there was like nobody there. Went back. It was on a Sunday again, a lot busier. Casa Margarita 2. It's an interesting inside of there. It's kind of got a neon look to it because of all the maturations that have been inside of that place. It kind of gives off 1990s diner vibes, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a different atmosphere inside of there than, say, you get at Azul Tequila or Cancun. Mind the ledge. You'll understand that when you walk in there. Mind the ledge when you walk in there. But if you survive the ledge, good food in there. I got the zarape. Very flavorful. Very good at Casa Margarita 2. So give that place a shot. Quickly, Buffalo Wild Wings. Wife and I have been there twice in the last month on Sundays. Huge tip of the cap to the staff there. They are literally sweating when they're moving around there. That place is very busy. There was a time there where B-Dubs was not very busy in Eau Claire. Something's happened, and it's gotten busy again. They are hustling. Service can be a little wonky because you can tell they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off, but they are working their rear ends off. B-Dubs is not known for outstanding food. You know what you're getting when you go in there. It gets the job done. It's all about service, and the people that are working there, at least on Sundays, they are trying their absolute darndest, and a tip of the cap from me. And then lastly, Hy-Vee, and more specifically, the deli at Hy-Vee. I just today decided, you know what, I'm going to try the Hy-Vee deli. The Hy-Vee deli. Now, I've gone there and we've gotten meats and whatnot, but they have all these sandwiches. And I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to get one of these sandwiches that they got up there. And I go there for lunch, order the Long Island, which is capicola, it's salami, it's a bunch of fillings made with the bread that's baked 50 yards away. Got the Long Island. Huge sandwich, bottle of water, $12. Ate it there, delicious. Delicious. That might be the best sandwich shop in the whole area. The deli at Hy-Vee. It's a little awkward because you go up there. They've got the other eatery, the other food spots right next to it that you kind of order right there and you pay right there. With the deli, you go, you get the sandwich. It takes them about 5 minutes to make the sandwich. Toasted and all that. Then they give you the sandwich. Then you got to go to the front to pay for it. Then go find a spot to sit. But you get through that rigmarole, it is the tastiest sandwich in this area. I will put that sandwich I had today, and I'm going to go back there in the next couple weeks to try another sandwich there. Best sandwich I've had in this area. Hy-Vee Deli, the Long Island, I recommend it. All right, folks, back with you next week. Another edition of Talk of the Town on Tuesday. On behalf of everyone who made this podcast possible, I'm Scott Montesano saying there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. Make sure to take advantage of it. And until next time, so long.